Hi, how is it going? I'm Luciano Ruas from the Brazilian Accent in Improvisation, and the theme today is about patterns that can help us to get inside the language. The language is made of a lot of elements, and sometimes people don't pay attention in one element but don't pay attention in other important elements. For example, if you are playing some styles, you have to think in the rhythm. You can think on the melody notes. You can think in the articulation. You can think in accents and emphasis, ghost notes, and sometimes people forget sometimes of playing phrases, typical phrases of that style. And I'm here today to talk with you how to apply some phrase. I've seen a lot of books of patterns, melodical patterns, and I see musicians studying them, but not really using them. And I suspect that's the way they study this subject. It's in a lot of books of patterns. It's recommended to play in the circle of fifths and fourths. But one interesting thing I don't see musicians doing is applying on the theme, taking that pattern and applying on the harmonies of a theme, a characteristic theme of that style. And I've heard of a student that he couldn't apply to these chords, or I've heard by musicians saying that they have to study and study more and more, that the pattern will appear in the theme they are playing. But I think that's a simpler way to getting this result. And some adaptable adjustments we can do to this exercise sound good and be made in an efficient way. Today I've chosen a phrase, a very typical phrase, samba phrase. It's very simple, that surrounds the chord note. I'm in A major now, and I'm gonna surround the note, the A. The phrase has its own rhythm. It's a characteristic phrase for ending phrases, but we are now going to apply in a lot of conditions and experience this phrase being playing in another, stopping in another chord notes, and another types of chords. Some of them won't sound good, but we're going to discover just applying. If I discover during an improvise, I can't redo this. I can't stop it and see the phrase again, correct some note. Now we have time to practice and collect the places where it will sound with a good sound, interesting sound. Okay. Then I took, for example, the theme A Voz do Morro of the composer Zaquete. It's a very traditional samba. I'm gonna play a piece for you. Let me arrange my pedal. This song was brilliant, recorded by Stefano Bolani. Stefano Bolani is one Italian pianist, but we realized that he studied the Brazilian accent. He played with a lot of Brazilian musicians, and it's easy to know that he have heard a lot of this sound. He had a lot of experience playing Brazilian music because it sounds with a good swing, with a good articulation, and he's inside the balance we hear in the comping that's being played together with him. So I recommend you to hear the for the Carioca recording. The name of the album is Carioca. Let's go. I took this phrase that's typical, and I'm going to apply in this harmony here. I hope you can see. I think it's not perfect now, but I'm going to say 2 measures of E flat minor 7, flat 5th, D minor 6, C sharp minor 7, C diminished, B minor, E 7, and A 7 or 6. It can be in samba we can change between the 6th and 7th in major chords. Then I'm gonna take the form first and try to apply this note, this kind of a pattern, stopping in each note of the chords. I recommend you to do just in the first 3 notes, the 7th or the 6th. It's more rare to sound good. Then I just apply in the first notes. You can test if you want, okay? And if you find a good sound, you can use it. But to create a efficient exercise, I'm just trying to do in places where I think it has more probability of sounding good, okay? Let's go to the first chord. I'm in the minor 9, of course. Starting by the major 9th and going to the major 7th. It sounds strange also. Let's go to the 3rd. Let's do the same pattern on the 3rd. Sounds good. And let's go to the 5th. I'm gonna try in the 7th, but I don't think it's gonna sound. So strange. For me, it doesn't sound good. Then I realized that during this phrase on the 3rd and on the 5th, it sounds good. Then I'm going to play 2 octaves of this phrase. Okay, let's go to the second chord, D minor 6. Oh, it sounded good in all chord notes. If you think you're going to forget what you do in the last chord because it's difficult for you to transpose, don't continue this exercise. Play it again. Return to the first chord and go to the second. If you have so many difficulties to learn this, just stay in the two chords, okay? Study just today in 2 chords. It will be okay. Tomorrow you're gonna review this 2 first. They are going to be easy to play and you can learn more. Don't overload your mind with information. This is important to in a good study. We can develop the ability to realize how much information we can carry in one day. Then the next day we are going to grow and grow. All right. Let's see the next chord. C sharp minor 7. Oh, it sounded good even using the major 7th because it creates a chromatic motion. On the 5th, sometimes I have doubts if using the major 6th. I think it's sounding better. Here we have a little more details. One more time. Very nice. For example, this chord I had a little more difficult to remind the details. Then I do more times and revise on the others. Let's revise one before. Alright. Okay, I could return to the beginning if it's difficult, but I'm gonna try to continue, okay? To show you more and more. Let's see if it works in C diminished 7. Yeah. It's a symmetrical chord, then it works in all notes. Okay, let me revise the last one. Alright, let's go to B minor 7. I memorized that the most difficult chord in this case was C sharp minor 7. Then sometimes it will be nice to review this chord, okay? I can, for example, it's not necessary to see all the form, but if you know that some chord is more difficult for you, revise it often. Okay, let's go to B minor. Interesting using the major sixth. I think it's because it's the note of the tone. Sorry. It happened now. An interesting thing that I say to all the instrumentists is that it's very important to do in more than on one octave, because it helps us to not get addicted just in playing the first grade of that chord. Sometimes, if you paid attention in what I was doing now, you could have realized that when I was changing octaves, I didn't see clearly the changes. Where was the note I was searching for? All right. All right. One more time. All right. I want to revise all that I did before, okay? Realize that I had one problem in the changing of octave of B minor, the same problem. The problems you have often repeated themselves. Then the different days of study one subject will make you realize sometimes, because sometimes we always commit the same mistake but don't realize the repetition of this mistake. And it will be easier to correct. I used to talk to my students that sometimes our brain is not prepared for the make some modifications or transformations in or corrections, but the day after, the day you did the exercise sometimes, and the day after you're gonna be more prepared. And the point where when I see we are prepared is when we can say that we often commit that mistake, or that or we aren't fluent. We don't have a fluent at execution in a specific moment of the song. Okay, then it's interesting to realize that they study improving day by day. I don't believe in just in a transformation that we can see the changes. But if we are paying attention in the details, we can see, yesterday this was difficult, but today it's not. We're gonna talk a little more about that, okay? Okay, let's go to E7. It's interesting to use the minor third. The note under the one or the fundamental, it's interesting to be chromatic. Okay, one more time. Let's suppose also that this note, a chromatic under the one of the chord, doesn't sound good. Then you can create one adaptation. You can adapt that chord. You have to search for good sounds. It's an exercise to do music, not it's a theoretical exercise. It's important that it allows you to do music with good sound. So search for good sounds, and when they in this case of the exercise they don't sound good, continue changing notes, or for example abandon some grade of the chord because you are just searching for good sounds. Okay, I'm gonna revise B minor and E7. And I'm going to A major 6 or 7. Again. Another thing important to say, it's that sometimes the pattern will not be as simple as this pattern is. Alright, then just study few chords slowly, okay, and don't worry if I'm doing this fast and you aren't capable of doing, or you can take more time to do this. Okay, just study for a few time, but trying to learn to carry that knowledge. If you think it's so hard to carry that knowledge, stop and just repeat what you have already done. Okay, very nice. Then I studied in all grades. I can do a little review. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to shoot second chord, D minor 7. C diminished. E7, and A major. All right, I can do slowly to think to think more about the chords. can realize that I committed a few mistakes to do it, but it was so much more precise, okay? And I don't edit the mistakes because they are common in improvisation study. And they are going to be common also when you improvise and take some risks when you are playing, okay? Then I'm going to try to make an improvisation. The next step, I'm going to try this improvisation using that phrase, and for this I'm going to use the metronome. Let's think in a good tempo for this song. Oh, the tempo of this song. This is the tempo of the song, 110, okay? But let's go down and down because I'm going to explore this idea. Let's go to 65. Okay, I did one chorus, commit some mistakes, but the first chorus sounded good, and I'm forcing the important thing to say, it's that I'm forcing this idea. I'm trying to use just this idea. Some people sometimes try to just already improvise, but I realize that when we do mixture already, the improvise with the phrase. I didn't study the phrase like you see using the tempo. I just studied the phrase with I was not respecting the extension of the measure. I sometimes stopped to think to play better. And then when we have tempo, sometimes we can realize some places where we get addicted to repeating the same places. Then just improvising now, using the pattern you are studying, because you are obligating yourself to use it in many different places. And if you aren't being capable of doing this, you can just study some piece of the piece and correcting this difficulty of thinking, okay? I'm gonna continue using. Okay, I sometimes I discover some interesting places that sound good on these chords, and it's not problem if I correct sometimes the measure to play in a good way. These ideas, if they're in difficult places, sometimes you're gonna risk yourself to try to execute them, or you can't risk. You can choose them. Don't risk yourself and go to a more comfortable place. Okay. One more of 6/5. Okay, right, I'm going to 70. In this repetition, I went for some places that I considered in the first moment they were difficult. Okay, let's go to 7/5. Wrong. I tried to stop in the 1, and for this first chord, it's not sounds interesting. Okay, let's go from 80. $85. Now it happened an interesting thing. The more we play one idea and try to develop it deeply, we can discover some interesting things that we do in this idea. For example, I discovered now that I could try to I don't know how to say this in English. It's I try to search for the most near idea in the other chord. Then I create like a cadence of these ideas, walking the minimum path possible, and it sounded interesting. I don't know if this word exists in English, but in cadeate, I don't know. Please correct it if I'm wrong. Okay, I'm sorry for this. Let's go from 19. I can. Other thing that happened. I stop it. We can use rests also. Okay, then I change the rhythm. I change the rhythm also. I try to use some ornaments. I'm starting to be more creative, but with just one idea. This is, I think, it's a marvelous marvelous thing of music, because we can discover ideas how to be musical just using simpler and simpler things. You don't need to make a so complex thing to find music, but you can go, if we go deeply inside something, it's gonna get your mind is gonna search for how to develop the creation and find ways to make it more musical. It's just to search and repeat and create the conditions for that. Okay, let's go to 95. I'm sorry, the first chord is very interesting things happened. I changed the rhythm, I joined some patterns, I changed some patterns. It's starting to be more creative. Okay, let's go. 1, 2, 1, 2. It's getting hotter, and I'm arriving in the tempo that I propose to play the theme. Okay, 105. Let's hear from more ideas. I started to use more octaves in my improvisation. Sometimes I think not just pianists, but we assume that there is just the middle octave of your instrument, and playing more and more, we're gonna realize that we have more octaves. It's an interesting thing to say for other instruments, that if you have some octave, for example, I think clarinet and another saxophones, trumpet, you're gonna have some difficulty to play in higher octaves. So you can adjust this exercise, going all the octaves that your instrument can play. Then you're gonna adjust your playing, trying to take a good sound of it. Then it's important not just play 2 octaves. Play the number of octaves you can. I know that my student Gael is here. Hi Gael, thanks for watching. Gael is a very talented student. He is gonna be a very great pianist, I can say. Alright, let's continue improvising. And now I showed you the idea, this idea for who is arriving now. Now let's return to the low time, and I'm going to 65 also. I was in 110, and I'm going to connect this idea with another phrases, ideas, and music. Okay. Let's go up. Seven, 5. And going up. And 85. 95. Let's try to do it more musical. And 100. Five. And 110, the last step we are going to use, the last tempo. Okay. Alright, then I did an improvisation using just and reinforcing this idea, and so now it's easy to me. When I want to hear that sound, I can recall it in my mind and it will going to sound, okay? Then I can do thriller exercises and or improvise that this this phrase will appear naturally. Okay, then I'm gonna improvise a little bit, but without trying to force this idea. I had some problems. All right, what's happened here? It's out of energy. Some problems here. My sound stopped here. I have to try to turn on, but I think you realize the importance of doing the exercise, the sound you, the phrase you think it's interesting for your sound, hearing, and experience the Brazilian music, try to put in various conditions inside the theme you wanna play. Then first play this phrase in different places of the scale, and just imagine it, and use the metronome, going for up, starting slow, and if you have some difficulty, stop in that tempo, study more, return on the second day, and do it more. Okay, then I think it's enough today. I think we have interesting information in this live that's applicable to a lot of themes. You can do in whatever theme you want, and if you want to study patterns, I think the path is this. Okay, then I'm sorry for the problems with the sound. Thanks for watching this live. I'm very happy to do this live, saying about the subject I love, that's Brazilian music. Okay, and thanks for watching, and goodbye.